Hello everyone, I welcome you all to be live with me in this session learning to e-learn, learn to e-learn or learning towards e-learning. So, this is an initiative along with the trainers camp which has been doing a wonderful job amid its all these difficult times, educating people, empowering people and spreading that positivity and awareness. And today I am with you all to share something out of my experience towards learning to e-learning. I am Krishna Chaitanya Kasula and this is my session with you. When I talked about this learning and e-learning, I recall a quote which says, "Never stop learning, never stop learning." Maybe you have all gone through this quote many a times in your WhatsApp messages and good morning, welcome messages. Never stop learning, for when we stop learning, we stop growing. When we stop learning, we stop growing. So, this message threatens us not to stop learning, keep learning always, whenever and wherever it is possible, keep on learning, and if you stop learning, you stop to grow. That made me learn many a times forcefully, and sometimes it made me worry what will happen if I stop to learn. And after some days, it kept me thinking, when will I stop learning? It just made me ponder, when do I not learn? When do I stop from learning? Is there a minute ever, if not a minute, even a second, when you have not learned? Just recall an experience of yours, or even now. Can you stop yourself from not being learning? Close your eyes, stop hearing everything you can do, if not for a minute, even for at least a second. Is it possible for us not to learn? Can we make ourselves not to learn? Can we stop ourselves from learning? A minute, a second, 2 seconds. Is it possible for us not to learn? We are natural learners, right? We learn every minute of ours, every second of ours, every being as ours is made to learn. We are such a natural learners. That something we did even before entering this world, from right away from our mother's womb, is to learn. And without learning, my dear friends, we would not have even existed. We would not even have taken birth. We would not know how to breathe. We would not know how to cry. We would not know how to be joyful. We are such a natural learners that every moment of ours, every second of ours, we are all learning. And learning is something which is imbibed in us, which we are made to learn. So, what is it that I can tell you something to you all who are natural learners about learning? Interesting, right? Okay. Let me throw some of my experiences about learning. Now, when learning is such a natural thing, just recall how beautifully, without any effort of yours, you learnt your mother tongue at the comfort of your home. Maybe you are not even 3 years old, 4 years old. By then, you are fluently using your language, you are using that flair, you are using that communication, you are beautifully articulating, you are able to negotiate your mom for whatever you want, you are able to cry and achieve something from your dad what you want, you know how to get your things done, right? And you are not a postgraduate then, you are just 3-year-old, maybe you didn't even start to go to school, you know how you wanted to eat, what you wanted to eat, how to get that from your mom, everything you know, and you are a beautiful learner, starting to learn to speak, starting to learn to stand on your own, starting to do everything what you want such a beautiful way. You were always a natural learner. Then what happened? Then started that schooling. You started to go to school. You started to observe different people, different teachers who are elder than you, who are different than you, who wear different clothes than you, who everything was different. Then came some fear, then came some fright. Then you thought that learning, which you equated to schooling, may not be so very natural. It could be difference. There could be difference. You equated schooling to learning. Schooling is something we learn, and only in school we learn. And to learn, we need to go to school. And to learn, we need to be with a teacher. And that teacher is somebody who is not known to me. I have to be with people who are not known to me. That fright in the very first day, it started to create some resistance towards learning, and slowly that resistance builds up through the school, inside the school, along with friends, along with peers, along with teachers, along with the assignments, along with your valuations. Every time your marks are less than what is expected from you, that resistance towards learning increases, and we come to a stage where, though we are learning 24/7, the word learning might confuse us, might complicate things for us, might build some complexities to us. Am I not right? Learning, which we were naturally doing while we were young, what is stopping us now to be in fright, afraid of something when we learn? That was some experiences which we were not comfortable, which we were forced to do through our childhood, that caused resistance to us. And probably that is the reason learning is something which we are not comfortable with, which we don't enjoy. Many of us don't enjoy learning. Now, to learn, we have to go back to the age, we have to cross that resistance, be a natural learner, remove all that self-hypnosis which we have done to ourselves, that learning is something which is meant for our evaluation, and while we learn, we are always evaluated. No, that is not. Ask yourself from your inner peace, what is learning to you? For some people, learning may be to earning, that is to earn a livelihood. For some people, learning may be to get a degree. For some people, it may be happiness. For some people, it may be their passion. For some people, learning means to gain wisdom. For some people, learning means to gain knowledge. For some people, it may be fun. For some people, it may be joy. For some people, it may be bliss. For some people, it may be their purpose of life. So, learning has your own meaning, and once you identify what is learning to you, my dear friends, you start to enjoy your learning. Yes or no? And we are always learning. We need not start learning. We need not resume learning, because we can never stop learning, nor we can pause learning. Learning is such a beautiful thing that happens till your last breath. As you breathe, you live. As you breathe, you learn. The minute we stop to breathe, all of us, maybe we don't live. I am sure we don't live, but I am not sure we still stop to learn or not. So, learning is something which is very eternal, very common, which all of us are meant to learn every single moment, every single second, every single part of us. We have that learning in us, and that is for many of us purpose of life. right? Now, today we are talking about e-learning. What is this e-learning? How is it new to us? Why is it important at this stage that we talk about e-learning? The difficult times also brought in different challenges, and at this stage it has become inevitable, little unavoidable for schools, colleges, universities, and also many training sessions even for the corporate world to operate things which were otherwise in a physical mode through e-learning mode. This brought in discussions, debates, deliberations all across. So, what is it about learning and what is it about e-learning? What are the pluses of e-learning, minuses of e-learning, what is pluses of learning, minuses of learning, will it be a replacement, will it not be a replacement? So, this I thought is the best time to talk about e-learning. I am not here to say whether it is good or bad. There may be pluses, there may be minuses, but e-learning has its own advantage. E-learning has its own advantages. Yes or no? We can learn from the comfort of home, at the comfort of home, in a way which we want to learn. E-learning, I say, has its own advantages, and for the next 30 minutes, let us ponder upon how to make our e-learning effective, how to enjoy our e-learning, and whether there are any challenges in e-learning, and if yes, how to overcome those challenges in e-learning. And towards the end, let me also throw some light through my experience of e-learning. What should one keep in mind while he is learning something through electronic devices, and what should one keep in mind as a trainer, as a teacher, while he is delivering content as a content developer, what should one keep in mind so that the content is effective. So, what are the challenges, plus, minus of e-learning is something let us see through this session today for next 30 minutes. Apart from the advantage which I showed through a picture initially, what a comfort, right? Many of us want to be bathroom singers. Some of us are also good bathroom learners. I think I am not the only one who enjoys reading or thinking or learning in the bathroom. There should be some people, some more people, or many more people along with me who enjoy doing that. So, with the advent of e-learning, previously I could not listen to my classes, or I could not listen to some sessions from the place where I enjoyed to listen most. Now I can. Apart from that, let me understand how do people learn, and let me also ponder upon as a teacher why many students hate to be inside the classroom or enjoy to be inside the classroom. For every coin there is a heads and a tails. So, some students enjoy being in the classroom, some students hate being in the classroom. Some students listen to the classes, some students simply tune themselves off, turn themselves off, switch off, or are in silent mode or in sleep mode inside the classroom. What did he do? Why does that happen? Some thoughts, some insights which you can share? Now, tell me, how many of you were always alert inside the classroom? Every class of it, if a class duration is for 55 minutes, 1 hour, you were attentive at least for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 50 plus minutes. How many of you were attentive in every class without switching off or without being in a silent mode? What happens when you are alert and what happens when you are not alert? What is that something which switches you off and what is that something which keeps you on? Let me tell you, my dear friends, our learning, whatever input we receive through 5 senses, and this enters in our brain, and our brain compiles through these 5 representational systems. We call it VAKOG, or in simple terms it is about sight, by seeing different colors. We learn through nature, we learn through seeing, we learn through hearing, auditory skills, by tasting, gustatory, by touching, kinesthetic, and by smelling, olfactory. So, these are the 5 senses through which we learn things. Information goes into our mind through one or all of these 5 senses. Now, some of us are good to see, they learn more while seeing. Some of us learn more while hearing. Some of us, they learn more with taste, some with touch, some with smell, some with a combination of these two, some may be with a combination of these two, some may be with a combination of these two, these 3, some combinations, and combinations vary from person to person, situation to situation, context to context. Now, what happens in an original classroom is, some people teach as a talk. And when I am talking continuously, non-stop as a teacher, the listener who is not very strong with his hearing skills or not very auditory person, what happens? Either he switches himself, when the teacher is on a low tone, he sleeps. When he is talking on a very high volume, his mind wanders across the world. He goes to Singapore, Bangkok, then to Philippines, over that Australia, then to US, and maybe after the bell rings, he will come back to the classroom. And some people also write on the board, activating the sight, addressing to these 2 skills. What happens? A person who is more comfortable with the kinesthetic part, the movements part, the feeling part of it, is still not very happy. Though response system is little more, still it does not satisfy a person. And maybe what a teacher writes is again not very appealing there on the board. So, what happens? Again, the student turns off. I am not denying there are some teachers who create excellence inside the classroom. How do they do that? Because words create magic. Words can create magic. A word, simultaneously when you speak, if you can make a person see the rainbow, make him feel the wind's breeze, make him taste the best of the sweets or best of the taste, or maybe some of you who like Maggi, if you can make him feel the taste with your words, and when you can make a person smell lavender, jasmine with your words, that is when some people have that artistic flair. Through their speech, they can activate these 5 senses, and that is when words become mantras. That is when words become magic. And those magicians as teachers have definitely created wonders inside the classroom. But does that happen with every teacher, inside every physical classroom? No, right? So, e-learning, my dear friends, whatever be the negatives, whatever be the positives, I am here not here to debate on it, but it is an opportunity for all the trainers, irrespective of their skills, through the pluses and minuses of e-learning, the tools available, the picturesque things which you can copy and paste from Google, you can make things artistic. You can add voices which sound beautiful. You can add taste by showing pictures. You can add touch to it, the fine feeling to it. You can play an animation. You can make it smell. So, without even having that magician in you, you can subscribe to these tools from e-learning and create magic. That is an opportunity I want you to explore for those people who wants to create wonderful e-learning content. This is an opportunity here. There is that opportunity here. And let me tell you, my dear friends, I also want to quote some examples here. There are some of us who love paintings, who are very visual persons. We love to watch beautiful paintings, we love to watch beautiful sceneries, we love to watch different colors. Maybe that is not the case with everybody. Not everybody would love to go to those painting shows, right? Some of you are very good with your auditory skills. You love to hear to music, you love those variations, you understand every tone, you understand every pitch, you act differently for different pitches, you act differently for different tones, and as the volume increases, as the volume slows down, you tune to that. You tune to that music and you enjoy that music, but that may not be the case with everybody. Some people enjoy dance, watching dance, the Kathakali person, when he makes different expressions on his face and he communicates through those expressions on the face. Some people enjoy to watch those feelings. They watch those feelings with that energy, whatever kinesthetic feelings he's trying to explain through those expressions to them, they catch, they enjoy that bliss. But again, that is not the case with some of us. So every different skill has every different set of audience. There are people who enjoy those buffets in the restaurants. That will be the top priority. I am one of them, to spend top dollar to enjoy those lavish buffets. But that is not again the same case with most of us. Now, what is something which is connecting all of us? What are the something which majority of us enjoy? Is it not films? And what do those directors do in the films so that majority of them are attracted, or especially the audience which they want to connect it are mostly attracted? What all those good directors are doing? In every frame, in every movie, in every screen on screen, frame on frame, they try to address to all these 5 elements. If there is a person dead, it is not that they just dead body they show. Along with that, they dress every person in white colored, so that it appeals to that visual person. They play a sad music. So the auditory person now hears that somebody is dead. Then people start to cry, weep like hell, that sadness in the faces is shown, those expresses talk to the kinesthetic person. Moombattis are lit for the olfactory senses. So they try to meet most of this in every frame. They are very particular about the backgrounds they choose, they are very particular about the music they choose, they are very particular about the expressions of the actors. All of these together, they are able to convey the meaning, one single meaning, one single dialogue, one single expression which the director wants to reach your heart. So he is experimenting with all of this. What does the ad do? What does advertisement agencies do? Coca-Cola is simply not written Coca-Cola. By showing that red color, he is addressing your auditory skills. By sensing that sound, auditory. Showing that chilled thing, bubbles, water bubbles on the water can. He is making you feel that cold. He is touching your kinesthetic senses. And the expression on the face, once a person is drinking, that will touch your gustatory skin. And the message is communicated, we will all want to drink that, whether it is good or bad, none of us are bothered. So beauty of all these can now we brought into the classrooms. As educators, we need to be focusing on the plus side, positive side of it is not just being a trainer, not just being a teacher, we can act to be the director who is reaching that soul screen by screen, shot by shot, dialogue by dialogue, and we now have an opportunity to do all of these. So, my dear friends, when I see the plus side, show you the plus side of e-learning. E-learning, let me tell you, is no different from our previous learning. It is not anything which is new. I ventured into asking many of my friends who are 35 to 40 years young, what is that you remember? You have attended school, college, university, maybe even post graduation from one of the top universities in the world, maybe the best universities in the country. What is that which immediately comes to your mind? A lecture from your class or a shot from a movie which you have watched? Can you all think of? While I am asking this question, if at all you have to recollect one thing, can you recall a shot from the movie screen or an experience from your class? Is it something which you learnt in the class comes to your mind first, or is it what you have watched in a movie show which comes to your mind first? Okay, you have your answer, right? You have your answer. So, with this, learning can be made fun, learning can be made a joy, learning can appeal to all those people who are just not strong with auditory, but also strong with their kinesthetic, but also strong with their visual, but also strong with their gustatory and their olfactory. E-learning can address to each and every one. Now, does this solve all the problems? No, my dear friends, it will not. Why? Because whether you want to learn, whether you want not to learn, the choice is always within you. You will always be learning drowned out, but the choice with you is what you want to learn. And when you don't want to learn anything, or when you don't want to learn from particular thing, obviously you will not be learning because you have made that choice. So, for those people who want to learn, learning was always their part. Despite many odds, we have Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Malala Yousafzai, plenty of difficulties, plenty of odds, but nothing could stop them from learning. Because they wanted to learn. And when we want to learn, any kind of learning, whether it is A learning or B learning or E learning or X learning or Z learning, we will be able to learn. When you want to learn, nothing can stop you. Modus is not a problem at all. Mode will not be a problem at all. No problem can stop you. When you don't want to learn, we can write 1,01,001 excuses for not learning, 1,01,001 excuses for not learning, for not e-learning, for not A learning, for not B learning, for not school learning, for not class learning. Yes or no? We are good at both having excuses for learning, having excuses for not learning. I will share an experience of mine. I never read any book, my dear friends, till I was 40, and I am 40 now. Slightly plus. I started to learn 4 months back. I will tell you why. And I will also tell you why I never read a book. My dad, somewhere when I am young, he told me a story of Tenali Ramakrishna. There is this king called Krishnadeva, who in his court had 8 Ashtadiggajas, well-known poets who were masters. Their works are highly lauded, and one of these was Tenali Ramakrishna, a witty poet. A witty poet. Poet is somebody debate, but wit is somebody nobody debates. He is a very witty person, and he was also a poet. I don't know for what reason, I can't recall for what reason he narrated me this story, but probably he had some purpose within him. The story goes like this. One day for this court, a person comes from Benares, a very highly learned person. He comes with his bandwagon of students, well dressed, and he looks like that poet, and he is well learned. He comes to the king and says, Maharaja, I am from Benares and I am highly learned. I read all his books, so and so. He lists down 1,000 different books. Now, none of the poets of this 8 could even recall anything out of this books list which he has listed. Now, if anybody is there in your kingdom to debate with me, I am okay with it. But on one condition, if he loses, whatever titles he procured, whatever wisdom he procured, whatever wealth he procured, he has to give it to me. And if I lose, I will share all of mine with that person. So, king, always being a king, he says, absolutely fine. Nothing to worry. You come tomorrow, one of our person will debate with you. And once this person leaves, the king talks to all of these Ashtadiggajas as to who is going to take over that person, and none of these persons are ready, because he has listed all the books, and many of them have not even gone through half of the books, and all these books whatever he listed include whatever these people have written. So, he has mastered all of their works, he has mastered each of the books that they have written. So, they are now worried that they cannot debate with this person. Now, the king is worried, and as a last rescue, he talks to Tenali Ramakrishna, can you do something, or can you debate this person? I know you cannot, because you are not that learned like the remaining 7 poets, but still none of them are ready to debate this person, and probably because your earnings are lowest, you may be ready to lose all of it. So, are you ready to debate? This person says, yes, I am. Call that person tomorrow. So, next day, the show is on. The person, Benares person comes, and this well dressed Ramakrishna comes in all silk attire, completely with all his belongings sword, and then he carries a silk bag folded, and he comes and ready for the debate. Now, the Benares poet, who is very pride with his knowledge, says, Mr. Ramakrishna, whatever you have learnt, probably I would have learnt 10 more books than you. Now, which book you want to debate on? What is that one thing which you want to debate on? Ramakrishna says, I have a book with me. This is called Tilakasta Mahisha Bandhanam, and I want you to debate on this particular book. Now, this person is worried. He has gone through most of the books, but this book, Tilakasta Mahisha Bandhanam, is something which he has not heard. So, he says to the king, Raja, I read this 30 years ago, I forgot this. So, I will not be able to debate it today, I will come tomorrow. And he leaves that courtyard, and that tomorrow never comes. So, the next day, king asked, even I have not heard about this book. What is this Tilakasta Mahisha Bandhanam about? Tila in Sanskrit means sesame. So, in his bag, he had a sesame stick and a rope which is used to tie a buffalo. So, Mahisha is buffalo and Bandhana means a rope. So, what he told is in that silk bag is a rope which is used to tie those buffaloes and a sesame stick. So, probably I don't remember why my father told me this story. Probably he wanted me not to be proud, or probably he wanted me to be witty like Ramakrishna. But what pondered my mind then was, even after reading this having read so many books, he still could not understand Tilakasta Mahisha Bandhanam. So, maybe reading those books will make you foolish. Maybe those books will condition you. maybe those books will make you not be wise. You may be learned but not be wise. So something went into my mind and I stopped reading from then, and I have never read books, and many times I wanted to read these books. I ventured into going to those Walden store with 1,000 in my pocket. Whenever I flew to that airport, that waiting time I used to spend in Walden, I wanted to buy those HBR review books, 999 rupees, 1,000 in my pocket, and suddenly from somewhere else, that Masala Nation calls me with that chole bhature and masala doshas. Now, if I have to make a choice for a person who put on +3 kgs in lockdown, the choice is obvious. But then, my teacher, I talked about him. I wanted to read books. Many people are reading books, and probably I am missing something by not reading books. So, what is that I have to do? And he, Mr. Sat, my trainer, my guru, he told me his experience and how he enjoys reading his books and how he does at least 40 books a year, and every weekend whenever he is free, he will complete 2 or 3 books, and while doing that, probably I don't know what Milton model he used, I was tuned, I got that thirst to read books. I started to read books. Maybe January and February I bought about 8 to 9 books and finished all of them. And then came this lockdown. Now I had no choice of the books. I googled Kindle, Audible, lot of features are there, but everything is costly. Every book is 800, 900. So why waste money? Then I searched little more, pdfdrive.net. It has thousands of books free of cost. Download it, put it in your Kindle, start reading. And during the lockdown, I was able to complete 13 books. So, my dear friends, it is not lack of resources, it is not lack of anything, it is only that will which can stop you from learning or which can make you learn. If you want to learn, you can learn. You have infinitely many free sources around the world, and everything and anything can be your teacher. A rock can be a teacher, a pen can be a teacher, everything can be a teacher. And when you don't want to learn, even if Krishna is there to give you Gita, you will be busy with masala dosa. And those friends who tell me that e-learning is a problem because it may cause eyesight. This is a study which came in January 2020, which says 83% of the city lads own a smartphone. 50% they have their own tablet. This is of the group 12 to 15 which I am talking about. 90% watch TV, averaging about 13.5 hours a week, which is about 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day they are already on TV before Jan 2020. 20 hours every week they used to go online for variety of reasons. So that is averaging 3 hours a day. And 76% of the students play around 13.5 hours, which is again 2 hours a day, online games. So sum and substance is 5 hours they were already online. 5 hours already they were online. Even if something was not in common, at least 3 hours they were all online. So only one thing what we have to shift now is from social media, from the TV time, from that online games time, that we have to shift on to learning. So we need not have to add anything additionally in our timing. Spent before the camera, spent before the mobile phone, spent before a device, spent before a desktop or a laptop. What we need to just do is change that to our study time from our play time, and play time can always be a fun time over physical things. So it is just A plus B, I am changing it to B plus A. All the fun you had on electronic devices, shift into physical places. All the learning you had on physical places shift into electronic places. 5 plus 5 still remains 10. Can you not balance it? So, when there is a will, there is a way. So, this cannot be an excuse. If this is the data only between 12 to 15 years, what about younger kids? Similar data is also available with 8 to 11-year-old kids. And younger lads, let me tell you, spend more time online than the older ones. So, it is only that the shift which we have to make post classroom, whatever fun we have to have, we should not have e-fun. Replace learn with e-learn because it is inevitable or for whatever reason, and remove that e-fun and make it just fun. And having fun, my dear friends, with physical things is wonderful. It will shape your body like anything. It will bring that energy back to you. I had a friend of mine who was a wonderful chess player. He was a professional chess player, and he used to tell me after every 2 hours of game, he used to play 1 hour of table tennis. And that is what many professional players also do. Vishwanathan Anand. Any top player, if you see, after every game of theirs, they will have that physical activity. Before every game or sometimes in between, they will go for a walk. Why it is important? Because we learn through our body, entirely through our body. Not just eyes, not just ears, not just brain. We learn through our body. And when we are not physically fit, our mental state will also take a hit. So, while you are into this e-learning, and some of you may be already there with me for last 30-40 minutes, so you have to shake it up. Every 30 minutes you raise, you shake it up. So, many software professionals, at least 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, they spend slogging before the electronic devices. Every half an hour, there is a Fitbit which reminds that you have to take some minimum number of steps every hour. So, every half an hour, every hour you have to wake, rise, shake it off. That is the advantage of e-learning. And my dear friends, remember that you have to do this, and once you are doing this, nothing can stop you. E-learning will be a fun. And some also complain that there are no devices. There are no devices, especially in India. We are all Jugaad kings, right? Best of the Jugaad Indians can do. Nobody can match them. Now, when you have to watch that cricket match, World Cup final, maybe between India and Pakistan, and you don't have TV at your place, or maybe current is gone, or whatever happened, will you stop yourself from watching cricket? What do? We see everywhere, before every electronic shop, before every saloon, before every place, you have those people watching cricket live together. You go to your neighbor's place, you go to your friend's place, you go to a restaurant, you go to a saloon, you go to a shop, wherever it is available, wherever a small screen is available, you be part of the show and you enjoy it, right? So, my dear friends, when you want to learn, no excuse can stop you, and when you don't want to learn, no paraphernalia can work for you. So, what is that you need to keep in mind while you are e-learning? Because you are already spending some time comfortably before electronic devices, I already told you every 1 hour you have to shake it up, and remaining part of the time you change it to physical mode. Don't stop PUBG, stop Facebook, social media. To minimize this, maybe instead of going to a e-news, you can read the news from physical paper. So, all these replacements if you do, learning will be wonderful. And while you are learning, don't see that you are alone. E-learning can be fun if you have partners. As I am talking, I see there are many people associated with me live. And your responses, whatever you are putting there, gives me energy. And probably Your responses are also giving energy to other people who are watching this. We are all social beings, and more we are together, more the energy. You can make learning partners. When you want to go to a movie, you don't go alone, right? You know whom to call. You want to go to a restaurant, you don't go alone, you know whom to call. And when you want to learn, you don't learn together. You should know whom to call. And make a social group. Maybe your neighbor, maybe somebody in the near apartment, maybe somebody in the next apartment, maybe somebody like living in the byline, maybe from your school, maybe not from your school, maybe your relative, not your relative. Just have somebody who can learn with you, who can share that energy with you, and togetherness will always give you energy. E-learning doesn't mean lone learning. You always see that there are people around you, you chat with them, you discuss, you inquire inside the classroom, you talk to people and make it more discussion oriented, make it more joy, make it more fun. How would that be then? Will it not look like a physical classroom? We all love our schools, and we all love our schools because of our friends. And if at all we are more on FB, it is again because of our friends. If you are not getting a like for 1 month, will you be on social media? If your friend is not commenting or sharing your post, will you be on social media? No, right? So if nobody is there with you, you cannot again learn. So make a group. Make a group and have the e-learning in place. And then again, while you are e-learning, keep that place religious. Keep that place religious, sanctified. See that, because many of us feel to study only when we are in that physiological shape, only when we are in that frame of mind. So that you can bring, my dear friends, when you keep that place safe, when you keep that place happy and have your own place, invite your friends to that place, maybe from the next door, maybe from the nearby house, anybody can come in, maybe your mom, maybe your daughter, maybe your son, maybe your father, somebody to learn. Maybe they read something, you read something, together the learning can happen in a great way. So bring in that togetherness, participate in every discussion, answer, if you have a doubt, inquire. All these things will bring a lot of fun inside the classroom, and that is what is fun, my dear friends. And what do I need to keep in mind when I am creating content? All the 6 things which I narrated are very important. You have to address to that visual part, you have to address to that auditory part, you have to address to that gustatory fact, you have to address to that olfactory part, and you have to address to that kinesthetic part. Create that magic. Use whatever tools. They are very simple. Once you want to do it, it's very simple. Nothing can stop you from working online. Happily, resources are available for free. Google is there. A number of resources are there. Just take it, borrow them, copy them, paste them. Learning will not take more than a day. I was working with one more guru. She was more than 70 years old, but she has tremendous energy to learn. And because of the lockdown, our training camp got cancelled. She was worried. She was missing that teaching. So I gave her this idea of Zoom. She was initially skeptical. Conducting such a big training session on Zoom is a difficult thing to digest, but she did it with such a great elegance that training on training went on, and probably she would have conducted 7 to 8 camps till now online. At what age? Age will not stop you. Nothing will stop you. If you have that eagerness, see all my dear friends, none of the Ola drivers are educated. Most of them were not even 10th class pass outs. Some of them may be graduates, but not with great education. But when they felt that need in the pocket, when they felt that they can exist only when they are trained with that GPS, their entire system of operating changed. They became comfortable with using GPS. They became comfortable with using the Tola app. They became comfortable with using e-money. Everything within no time they had that shift. So shift is not a problem. Only thing is we have to break that resistance. We have to break that barrier. Either need breaks it or you with your motivation inside break it. The choice is yours. And many of you may think, especially the trainers, if I get into the e-learning platform, what if I fail? What if I am not able to deliver things properly? What if my class is not appreciated as it was appreciated in the live classroom? Nothing happens. Seriously, nothing happens. Nobody can ever fail. Neither you nor your student. Nobody can ever fail. There is no failure, it's only feedback. And there was this wonderful basketball player. I want you all to name who is it. He is the most lauded basketball player. He said once, like, your life is rosy, you have earned so much, many people know you, you are most appreciated in the US. So what is it about your success? He said, there is nothing about my success. It's all about my failure. I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. I have been interested to take the winning shot of the game, and 26 occasions I have missed winning in that. And I have failed over and over again and again in my life, and that is why I succeeded. There cannot be any success, my dear friends, without a feedback. Don't ever call it a failure. Without a feedback, there cannot be a success. So challenges are there for everybody. But when you know you want to make it, you will make it. That is for sure. So thank you for your patience, my dear friends. I reiterate, we are all those natural learners, learning 24/7. If at all, one thing which we cannot stop doing even for a second, even for half a second, even for a billionth of a second, is not to learn. Even if you are put in a vacuum, within no time you will learn how a man feels inside the vacuum. If you are put forever in vacuum, within no short time, you stop to breathe, you stop to live, and just before that, you would have learned how much time you will live in vacuum. And after that, maybe you stop to live, I am sure, but what I am not sure is whether you stop to learn. Thank you.